All right, welcome into Gridiron Icon, and might I just say, we are back. It is great to see my teammate and co-host, Mr. Preston Denard. Welcome in, my friend. How are you?
I am doing quite well.
Uh,
And don't mess with me. I'll call you out, brother.
I can't love this enough. For those of us who listen to the podcast or watch, I should say, on our YouTube channel, you have to see number 88 in full zebra regalia.
Oh, yeah.
He's got flags, he's got challenge flags. What is going on here? I don't want to think about a
Well,
player becoming
yeah.
an official. What's up?
Well, you know, there's been a couple of bad calls in my career. And so after they were made, I kind of had a little tussle with the ref, and I ended up with his stuff.
Do tell.
Yeah, so it's for wall focus, and so we can showcase. I've eaten up a zebra.
I can't believe it. Yeah, for anybody listening, full official attire out
Yeah.
of Mr.
Oh, I
Preston
even got the
Denard.
whistle, but I
What?
left it. Yeah, I got a whistle too.
Oh my goodness. By the way, and I'll say it, even though you can't, based on some of the officiating over the first 4 or 5 weeks of this NFL season, I think they could
Oh,
use you.
well,
Some of it's been bad.
yeah.
I
Or
mean,
or I need to be smart and stay out of it
yeah, you
because
stay out of that conversation.
some
I
of
can
it
say
has
it.
been bad, but not just at the professional ranks. I've seen it throughout college ranks, and high school is the worst.
Oh,
Oh my
ugh.
gosh. High school is the worst. There's no consistency. Nobody's in shape. Nobody wants to chase and get in position of the call. So yeah, that's my take on all that juice.
Friday Night Lights is a real thing, people. I've seen it
Yeah.
too. Seen some controversial, rather emotional moments at high school football stadiums. We'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah.
But unreal. Well, hey, we are back after a small hiatus. It is great to talk some football with former NFL icon, Mr. Denard. And I got to tell you, we're doing something a little different this week, a little bit different. No guest. We're going to mix
Hmm.
in a little bit of this. We've got some other exciting things coming for late this year and in
Hmm.
2024 in our little world of iconic football talk. But we're going to do something a little bit different. A couple of headlines. And interestingly enough, we tend to talk a lot of NFL here, but I want to talk a little college football with you as we're almost 2 months into the season now. And there's a couple of big headlines, including one today I wanted to tackle with you, pun intended. But I want to start in Colorado with Coach
Yeah.
Prime, one of the greatest football players to ever play the game, and what he's doing. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I think as a fan base and as, armchair quarterbacks, culture is important. What has been your early observation, wins and now a couple of big losses with what Dion is doing there in Colorado? What's the impact to that program?
Well, first of all, he's changed the culture immediately and aggressively. And so when you do that, that gets attention. You get under people's nerves, or you start getting some folks saying, "Oh yeah, I like the way he's stepping up." So he is making change. He's making noise. He's creating a lot of noise out there, and he's doing it his way. On top of that, one thing he's made sure his investment is paying off. He went and got him some darn good athletes because that's the real key to all of this. He's got some really good athletes that are Division One players, and he's got some elite players that's on that club too. Now they're young, okay, and everybody at Jackson State, whenever they played them, weren't always able to kick their butt each and every game. They're in a conference that's what they see each and every week. They got to battle each and every week. So I think the decor, the attraction, the myth, all of those things are just fine. But the bottom line, they've got players. And these young players are dealing with stamina. They got to have their game up here each and every weekend. And they don't have any time to slouch, rest, or relax, or they'll get pummeled. But they are competing.
Yeah, I tell you, it's amazing looking at that roster and what Coach Prime has done. Both Shadur Sanders, his son, playing the quarterback position, no small task, and this Hunter Fisher, the kid who
Mm-hmm.
he's a utility knife. He does it all, and he does it all well.
Yep,
I,
Travis Hunter. Oh, he's
Travis
outstanding.
Hunter, excuse me, I
Yeah.
misspoke there. Uh, Absolutely incredible. And let's be honest, do you think either of those kids are playing at Colorado if Coach Prime isn't there?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Now, Hunter, he probably could be at a Southeastern school. Uh, Coach Prime's son, maybe not,
Yeah.
because he's playing a crucial position, and he's not that. He's a really good athlete. Doesn't have tremendous speed, but he can get down the field. What he does have is smarts, and he's got courage because he'll throw that ball, and he's got strength and quickness. He can release that ball. He can get it in there. That's a special skill set, and not everybody have that.
I got to well, and it's hard to argue with the fact that the kid's just a winner.
Yeah.
Now they've had a couple of pretty big losses here. The Oregon game was a complete disaster, and I got to tell you, I grew up watching Dion, one easily top 10 greatest players I've ever seen. But I came away more impressed with him on how he's handling adversity. I'm kind of
Yeah.
blown away based on his bombastic personality. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't shy away from anything.
Yeah.
Handled the Oregon loss, and then this last week against Stanford in what was an epic collapse, 29-point collapse.
Right.
I came away looking at Dion after that press conference, just going, "This guy's a leader. This is not all pomp and circumstance and neon Dion stuff. He's a leader of men." The way he handled blowing that lead was mind blowing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just couldn't get over that. You do you think all NFL players? I think that I mean this is kind of a dumb question, but not every NFL player can translate into a coach and lead 50, 60, 100 guys onto a football field. True?
No, not at all. Not at all. But first, before that,
Oh,
I got to throw the flag on that.
Oh.
Not anybody. Come on. You know you can do anything. You can ask any question. You can stand tall in it if you want. I'm gonna pick my flag up though.
I got a flag on the play. Was that 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct
I'm
right
not even
there?
going to give you yardage. I'm picking the flag up. But to answer your question, not everybody can coach that way. Not everybody has the skill set to even be a leader in coaching. Not everybody is studious enough. You have to have, first of all, what you see in Dion's coaching is heart, is emotions, and professionalism, because somebody that's not as professional as he, the way you're talking about how he responds to tough questions, how he responds to tough situations or the position his kids are in. I mean, I just look at how they handled Travis Hunter when he got injured. They didn't rush him back. They didn't push him out there. They care about those athletes, and that's the dynamic he brings. Not everybody can do this. So can anybody else? Yeah, sure. I'm sure they can. I enjoy coaching as long as I was able to coach. But not everybody has that opportunity. And it's not the entire professional athlete. Not everybody, not the culture, not just because you were an athlete that disqualifies you as a potential coach, but it's the investment of you in that profession. Because you gotta get into it. You got to understand it and you got to know it in order to do that. And to lead young men, it's not always yelling. Football is not always about yelling. Sometimes you got to develop. Sometimes you got to encourage. Sometimes you got to inspire. And then sometimes you got to kick a little butt because they're stubborn, but you got to know your team. And I think Dion knows his team.
It's incredible. I feel like he's got his hand on the pulse of that team
Yeah.
in ways that an older coach or someone who just hadn't been through the ranks and been through the experience would even know. You bring up Travis Hunter, and there's been a lot of controversy around Dion, which I want to talk about for a few minutes, just in the way he's still neon Dion.
Yeah.
The sunglasses thing, giving him all sunglasses, but then. In your comment about Hunter, he goes out and gets drilled on what looks like a cheap shot.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks later sits down with the kid that drilled him for an all, hug-in interview on camera. They end up being buddies. And I got to tell you, I walked away from that as a fan going, I don't think you're going to see that in a lot of programs. I think you're going to see Bounty Gate or some. I mean, look, we're all people.
Yeah, yeah.
Does Hunter is do you? I mean, we don't want to take anything away from Hunter and his character, but is that Dion as a
Well,
coach?
I think it's a reflection of the kids, the players, teammates. They're a reflection of each other. And if your leadership leads a certain way and you're a follower under that, then you're going to obtain some of those disciplines. And so Travis has known Dion, sounds like a long time,
Yeah.
youth ball or something like that. So he's been a mentor. So he has his ear. So he's heard all through his lifetime of athletics this one man who's been instilling all of this discipline and being who he is and not worried about what people think about him, that he's going to go out there and do it the way he knows how to do it. One thing he knows that he has is he's got someone that's got his back. And so I think that's a reflection of who leads them, and that's their head coach. And further in that, though, I want to give him credit because it takes a special person to act upon that. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to receive his phone call if he reached out or the other gentleman reached out. But that just shows you true sportsmanship. And through all these years in athletics and in high school, they've been talking about sportsmanship and they got all these sayings that they put on the wall, courage and loyalty and all they do in regards to what they're trying to promote in sportsmanship. Here's a great opportunity. Somebody could have took this and just went off the roof promoting sportsmanship. That's the ideal scenario and situation to reflect sportsmanship in athletics. And I think a lot of people miss that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that singular event, among many others, the fact that they're winning, the fact that they're handling adversity with a measure of class, look, that's leadership. I
That
mean,
is
you're not going to get that in a lot of programs around this country. I mean, I say that it's kind of controversial, but not really. I mean, we live in a world that's a little more confrontational, and you've got Dion who is
yeah.
known as the king of confrontational, of the bright lights, of the battles with Jerry Rice, the battle,
Oh yeah.
and he's got these guys thinking and acting a different way, and
Yeah.
it's pretty remarkable. Now I got to ask you, not a popular question, but I'm curious culturally what this does for a locker room or a set of players. You know, Dion's, of course, signed a 5-year, $29.5 million contract at Colorado, so he's in it to win it. But he's also doing some interesting things on the marketing side, which shouldn't
Oh yeah.
surprise anybody, right? I mean,
No,
we
I
know the
mean,
player.
you know what you got. You know
Yeah.
what you got. You know what you have. And go along for the ride because he is bringing attraction to that school unlike it's ever had before. And on top of that, he's brought him out of the muck and the mire and all that other nonsense stuff and immediately and just taken him to another level. What? Their first 3 games were on national TV?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
seem to keep him on TV, though he's ticked off that they got him playing at midnight. But but the bottom line is he is bringing what that university needs. And recruiting, enrollment, attendance, online, wearing their outfits. So, I mean, Dion's smart. He knows what he's doing. And the
Oh, yeah.
university is as equally smart. And here's the deal. They're already set on their transfer, right? So they're good to go. This big marketing campaign going back into I call it home, going back into the Big 12 or whatever they're going to call that thing.
Yeah.
They got it's a great situation. They know what they're doing. They know what they got. It's a great marketing tool.
Yeah, I feel like the university's bought in too. I mean, I
Yeah.
was looking at some of the phrases, the snapshots of what he's trademarked in the last few weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
this isn't your everyday football coach. Am I right, Preston? Here's a
Oh,
few.
no.
Ain't nobody care. F around and find out. We keep receipts. Pitbull and pumps. Working or twerking. And look, before I sign, Before I signed on tonight, I thought, oh yeah, I'm sure Preston can relate to this. I'm sure Ray Malavasi and John Robinson were doing that too,
Hey,
right?
I don't even know what half of that stuff means
Time
today.
change.
But I'm just saying, ain't no stopping us now. That's the only slogan or phrase we had, and that was a song for us at that
It's a
time.
great
But
song.
man, I mean, it's a different time.
Right.
This is what our kids. I mean, what's keeping our kids from being what we used to be, like out on at the parks and in the dirt and doing stuff? It's these
Yep.
video games, the
Yeah.
electronics is keeping these kids. So their music is different. Their everything is totally different. Something I can't relate to, but Dion can. That's
Yeah.
why he's at Colorado. That's why he's got the 29+ million contract.
Whew.
That's why all the and everybody else, all these marketers, they know what the heck they're doing.
Oh yeah.
They are just blowing them up,
Yeah.
And really, honestly, they might be the 7th best team in the conference.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I don't know how many of them are going to be. What is it? Like probably 8 are going to go to the bowl game for sure.
Yeah.
And you got 2 that are potential, at least 1, maybe 2 that can be considered for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's another argument. They need 8 teams, not 4.
Oh yeah, we
That's
got
for another
college
day.
playoff needs its own episode for sure. But yeah, I know you're right. I mean, look, the marketing. We live in a different world now.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You wouldn't see George Allen or Chuck Noll out here getting trademarks and anything. We get it, folks. But I think it's just such a fascinating thing to watch with the success because he's also the guy that brought tremendous discipline to a program about the way they dress, the way they show up to meetings, the way they dress on the field. This isn't a guy, he's not just some rogue guy. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And you know what else? Only he can do it because somebody else doesn't have time.
Yeah.
Somebody else doesn't have vision. Somebody else has maintained the gap between cultures. But I'm going to coach your kid. Somebody else has missed the opportunity to really connect with their athletes. Those kids in Colorado go through a brick wall for Dion.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You got a coach like that, very recognizable. What do you think the pros think of him turning programs around?
Yeah.
I mean, is this just a one-stop shop for Dion? He got to Colorado and he woke everybody up out of all the webs and the darkness, and now he's got Colorado going. Is he a multiple school coach where he just keeps climbing? Or is this just a one-time Cinderella run? Because that's what the Oregon coach thinks.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, boy, do I want to talk about that game and those last 2 minutes under that Oregon coach.
He got
upset.
Cinderella came back on him.
Yeah, that's really something. But no, you're absolutely right. It's a fascinating dynamic. I think it's just the beginning for Dion. I got to tell you, there's not an NFL general manager that isn't going to tap into Deion Sanders and go, "Can this kid play corner?" And that isn't going to listen to him. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, it's absurd, and I think it's changed the recruiting game in so many ways.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a young kid, and look, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm in the same age group, but Nick Saban shows up at your door, and then Deion Sanders shows up at your door. We've got a difference. There's a difference.
I'm gonna tell you what you got. You got mom and daddy now battling with their own baby.
There you go.
Baby wants to go with Dion, and mom and daddy want them to follow behind Nick Saban.
That's right.
And both programs would be wonderful to have that selected athlete. But that's the struggle that's going to go on. Shoot, are you kidding? The media, the marketing appeal, the ability, the cameras on TV, come on. That's what those kids
the
want.
new NIL world where they can actually make money. Come on.
There you go.
Okay, we got to switch gears a little bit because there's another headline. Gosh, there's a headline. Yeah, don't throw a flag on me here. You might want to challenge it. I'm not sure. A headline today that I thought was worthy of us bouncing around on a little bit. Rumors are flying that Mr. Caleb Williams, who is a phenomenal talent at USC, the quarterback, the kid that is a bit polarizing right now, Heisman Trophy winner. Rumors are flying that they're already floating out there that whoever drafts him, whatever NFL team drafts him, he wants partial ownership. I can't imagine where he learned this from, LeBron, or anybody else. in pro sports. But what say you? You're a former NFL player, and I realize there's an age gap. But what does this do for teammates? What does this do for his experience? Does he deserve this? Is this insane? Is this insanely smart? Partial ownership of an NFL team you've never even played on? What say you, number
Yeah,
88?
yeah, yeah. Well, number 88 says, keep dreaming. We did not have all of these strikes and go through them and lose money and fight the battle and have our cause fought against, trying to better lives and retirement for the old school guys, and then for us who came through and the guys thereafter. We didn't go out to practice every day banging ourselves and find the owners offering us a percentage of whatever. They've been battling us all these years, all this time, excuse me, since the existence.
Wow.
And there's no way in the world they're going to give up a piece of the pie, because integrity, not to say they don't have it. Intelligence, not to say they don't have it. Savvy, and the right money. Now, Caleb Williams, that's a nice, and I commend him. That's a nice negotiating, marketing ploy.
Right.
Okay? But when it comes down to you and I who own this thing, and we got to make an opinion about his ability, I'm going to tell you, there's some other good quarterbacks out there that if you did not have him, you wouldn't be losing much if you lost anything at all. Now,
Yeah.
Caleb's a hell of an athlete.
Oh,
It'd
yeah.
be a wonderful desire for somebody to have. But I don't see ownership in a team being one of those components that he can change the game in. I just don't see that happening, because it still is an athlete who's going to play a number of years. And now that he's got ownership position, what's he going to do? Fight with the team when it's time to negotiate?
Yeah.
He's going to
Yeah.
fight with himself. It doesn't even make common sense. It's a nice marketing ploy, but it'll never happen.
Going to get his coach fired? Like he doesn't like the head coach? We're going to fire him? I'm an owner
Yeah,
here.
there you go.
I mean, what?
And is there a conflict of interest too
A little.
in the collective bargaining agreement in this kind of scenario? That's another thing. Anybody that's had ownership as a former player has been a retired player removed from an active roster and had the money to join a group of folks to be that investment tool.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, never will happen as a player.
Yeah, I mean, it just absolutely opens up Pandora's box. And I realize these are rumors circulating today on a Wednesday,
Yeah.
but the fact that it's even come up means somebody, whether it's him or it's somebody in his circle or somebody, has thought of this.
Yeah,
And
somebody did.
yeah, an agent or somebody who wants
Yeah.
to scare away, starting to look like the Chicago Bears or somebody that's going to be that first pick in the draft. This is going to get into some really rare air and some interesting territory. And that doesn't even get into, I mean, I'd have to ask you, could you even see how that goes down in a locker room?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already, shoot, we were screaming about Johnny Johnson making $1 million when he got signed back
I
then.
remember that. Number
That was
20.
in the locker room. Yeah. Hey, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
And that'll be the worst case scenario.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a bunch of human beings that are brothers, but then something shifts on the horizon and everything gets weird. I mean, not only you're the quarterback, you're the head of the football team, arguably, but now you're the owner. You're looking at the left tackle going, I don't like you anymore. I'm just going to cut you.
Yeah. Oh,
What?
my God. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems crazy, and it seems like a tactic by an agent or someone in his circle to either scare someone or create some conversation.
Yep.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but for me, it's always concerned me, these college quarterbacks as it is. Like, he is a phenomenal talent. But, folks, he's played college football.
That's true.
And we've seen this before. I want to bring up a name to you that and again, this is not being denigrating or anything. I just want to caution. I remember when Terrell Pryor was coming out of Ohio State. Phenomenal
Yes,
talent.
yes, yes,
When
yes,
I
yes.
watch them play, I almost feel like, oh, they're both tall. I
Hmm.
almost like I'm watching the same guy. It didn't work out for Terrell. You know, if he had
No,
to switch
no.
positions, be a
Hmm.
receiver, and
Yeah.
you know, so all of this talk around a kid that hasn't even stepped on an NFL field yet
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
is,
And you know what? The other thing too is if you look at his style of play, now we're going to get real
ooh,
critical about play.
no, it's okay.
He's got, a lot of his success is movement in the pocket,
Mm,
running around, really good and handy running around, escaping. That's a great tool to have. Okay. But the right team has to fit with
mm,
that skill. Is that the
right.
team he doesn't want to have ownership in or get drafted by? I mean, this is a whole big old game he's going to be playing, trying to figure out, okay, because there's some great college quarterbacks that came out and they minimized them by the time they got to the pros
Yeah,
because they couldn't fit into systems.
yeah,
And if you can't fit into systems, they do say, okay, let's build a team around him, but somebody may not have time to do that. So you
yeah,
got to draft smart. You got to come in and you got to play smart, and you got to you got to bring your A game, as they say in golf, and just be that athlete that you were in college. But certain dynamics change. Like for example, blocking schemes can change for one quarterback versus another one on
yeah,
the same team. Case in point, Vince Ferragamo and Pat Hayden. They had to park the waters for Pat Hayden because of 5'10", 5'10 and a half,
yeah,
whatever it was he was. And then
yep,
Vince, 6'3", whatever, he could throw over top. So the protection scheme was a little bit different.
yeah,
Others open it up. The other one just do your protection because
right.
he was tall enough to see over. That's how critical that's going to be in the face of someone like Caleb.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very good point. I'll tell you, and we're seeing this play out, what you're discussing right there, right before our eyes with
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson of the Colts.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
an athlete! I mean, this kid was
yeah.
tough. He had the Rams kind of a little worried there in that game.
Mm-hmm.
A rocket for an arm. He can move around. He's
Yeah.
mobile. Seems like a great kid. As soon as he left that pocket, folks, his season ended today.
Yep. End of
You
the
know,
day,
and
he's out.
he's out.
That's a
And
shame.
so you bring up a quarterback like with the prowess of a Caleb Williams, he gets hurt and he's the
Hmm.
owner. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just a tidal wave of insanity
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
that breaks
And I
loose.
don't think they legally can do it. I
Yeah.
think there's got to be some kind of yeah. I think there's a challenge there.
I predict by Friday before Saturday's games, he's going to comment. I never said that. I don't know where that's coming from. Where'd that guy? That's my prediction. No, this is great. And this is something we want to do, folks. Those were two of the biggest headlines from this week, my friend. This is something that you and I are going to mix into the Gridiron Icon
Hmm.
portfolio from here and there when we don't have an interview with a fantastic player or coach from the past. And, I got to ask you before we sign off here this week, how do you like the Rams against the Steelers this weekend? That's
Well,
that does that cause any emotions for you? Rams
no,
versus
not at all.
Steelers? No,
Not at
no
all.
emotions there,
Yeah,
huh? A
yeah.
Super Bowl 14.
I'm
Okay.
way over that. No, the thing I'm not over with is that cheap shot by Lawrence Taylor. I'm never gonna live that
Oh,
down.
LT is on notice.
Oh my God, he's been on notice ever since 1983.
Ooh,
First
we
game
have
of the
not
season. Okay,
discussed
let's
this.
not go there. Let's not go there. But
Next
the
episode.
Rams and the Steelers, always a classic play, always a great game. This one is going to be pretty even. So it's going to be defense that's going to really win this game. Offense is going to be sort of checked, but I think Pittsburgh's still trying to find themselves. Are
Yeah.
they a passing team? They're trying to be that. Can they keep the running game the way it always has been? The Rams, self-evident. They got to play ball. They
Yeah.
got to play ball. They got to play winning ball. They got to get back to it. They still have the tools to do it, and putting a lot of pressure on Cooper. Let's get a rhythm. Let's get a system. Let's get everybody involved, and let's move the ball. Third down is important in a game like this.
Yeah, I want to pick up on that next week when we chat again on this delightful little show.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Cup is incredible.
Yeah.
But man, I'm getting concerned about the workload. And I like seeing Puka Nakua in there
Yeah.
and Tutu Atwell but boy, Cooper, he is just so special, man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Uh,
is.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure that you probably enjoy that more than the rest of us as a former wide receiver.
Oh, heck
But
yeah. Heck yeah. I really do. But
absolutely amazing.
as we part, my friend, great show.
Okay.
We always want to do this. Folks will do this at any part in time of the show when he and I are going at it. So we're going to part, and you can learn something new by way of a quiz, a question that we want to always introduce. A little bit of learning going on here. So, my
Oh.
friend, here's one for you. How many dimples does an average golf ball have?
Oh no.
Whoa, never heard of that question, have you?
This is brutal. How
But
many
there's a real
dimples?
answer. There's a real
Oh, I'm
answer.
sure there is. Yeah, it could be any brand. It can be a Titleist or okay.
Huh?
Average to golf ball dimples.
Average.
This is pure guess. Okay, I'm gonna go with 244.
That's a darn good guess.
Okay.
No, because I'm thinking maybe 19, you'd say
No.
57, but no. 336 is the correct answer.
Ooh,
That's pretty
I
good
was
on your
off by
part.
that much.
I
Wow.
bet a lot of people didn't know that and would have never thought about that.
Oh my God. Well, there you go, folks. We've got your golf ball trivia here on Gridiron Icon. I mean, that's beautiful. Okay, so keep questions week in and week out.
Send them out
We're
to
gonna have
us.
some fun. We're going to be doing some other stuff as we look forward to 2024 following the holidays, where we're going to get you, the listener, involved. Stay tuned on
Yeah.
that. And on that note, my friend, thanks for joining me for this quick
Yes.
visit this week. Follow us on all the normal spots, gridironicon.com, brought to you by
Yeah.
Lioncast Media. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and of course on our YouTube channel.
YouTube. There you
For
go.
myself and number 88, or
Yes.
shall I say official 88 this week,
Watch yourself.
a
You
big
may have
oh.
to. Hey, when you finally get this, folks, replay it again.
Oh, he throws the challenge flag. All right.
I
Um,
challenge you.
Look, it was better than unsportsmanlike conduct, which I even got the cheer. I love it.
We are here to stay.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining
All right.
Preston and I this week on Gridiron Icon. We will see you next week.
Take care, everybody.